Hey guys, GSP from GSP Talk Sports here. We're talking World Cup qualification, CONCACAF region. We started on Thursday in Group A action. We had Suriname taking on Panama and Guatemala taking on El Salvador. Now, a lot of people have Panama to be basically runaway group winners of this group, with possibly either Guatemala or Suriname with their Dutch connection, like lower division players taking the playoffs, possibly one of the playoff spots. How it goes in this final stage of qualification in CONCACAF, there are three guaranteed spots. Group winners with with the three groups. So three group winners qualifying automatically. As you would know, the competition is being held in USA, Mexico, and Canada. So we have three automatic spots there. Well, three host country spots, three automatic spots from these groups, the three groups as group winners, and then the best two runners up will go into intercontinental playoff. So in these games, we had Suriname, Panama, kind of surprising. It was a nil-nil draw. A lot of people were expecting, although Suriname hosted Panama, so Suriname with home advantage for Suriname to, for Panama to beat Suriname quite comfortably. And the game was kind of dominated by Panama, where they had a lot of shots, 15 shots, as compared to nine for Suriname. A little more in terms of the possession and higher expected XG. But as things go, nothing is straightforward. You would probably see on paper Panama Suriname and think it's a sure Panama victory, but that didn't go according to plan. So we'll see how that develops with the further games coming up. And then we had somewhat of a kind of, you could call it a huge upset. El Salvador 1-0 winners over Guatemala. So a lot of people were expecting, as I mentioned before, Guatemala to probably be the runners up to Panama in this group. Guatemala actually had 71% possession in this group as compared to in this game, sorry, as compared to El Salvador, only 29%. And Guatemala had 19 shots as compared um, to El Salvador 10. But you know what's the most important stat though? El Salvador had one shot on target and they won 1-0. So although Guatemala had that amount of possession and shots and stuff like that, the game doesn't always pan out if somebody is just watching. Hey, well, one team dominating with 71% possession, 19 shots, and they lost 1-0. That's what happened. So kind of early upsets, if you want to call it that, because Panama was expected to beat Suriname and Guatemala was expected to beat El Salvador, but nothing goes as expected. So that was the early action on Thursday. Then on Friday we got into the real parts of the mix here with Group B and Group C action. I'll go through Group C first. So Group C, we had Haiti playing Honduras. That was a nil-nil draw, Haiti at home. And we had Nicaragua versus Costa Rica, 1-1. Nicaragua got a red card in the 56th minute. So a lot of people expecting this group to be a cakewalk for Costa Rica. And as we're seeing early on, it's not proven to be just like that, because Costa Rica could only muster a point against Nicaragua, and Honduras and Haiti. Most people would think Honduras should be beaten Haiti. That's not how that game went. Also, so Haiti doing pretty well at home, hosting Honduras. So early days in this group, all four teams on 1 point each. Expected in this group is Costa Rica, more or less supposed to. I mean, they're not Costa Rica of the past, but they're supposed to more or less win this group. And should be a toss up between Haiti and Honduras for the second, well, possibly second place and playoff berth, with most people thinking Honduras should grab that second spot. So that's left to be seen. Now, I don't necessarily meat of the matter because I'm vegan. So, main course, Group B action. The earlier game was Jamaica going to Bermuda. Now, in terms of this game, you have Jamaica being the highest ranked team in this group, ranked 70th according to FIFA rankings, taking on Bermuda 162 rank. Now, it doesn't always go based on rankings how the match going to end up being, because we have seen smaller, less uh, well prepared teams and stuff like that hold bigger teams, bigger being Jamaica in this group, to positive results, whether it be a draw or uh, a one-off win, let's just say. But it went according to the rankings. In this case, with Jamaica, comfortable 4-0 winners in this match, and taking an early lead in this table. So just to say as well, in this table, Jamaica being ranked 70th, Bermuda 162, Curacao 86th, and Trinidad and Tobago 101. So a lot of predictions have it as Jamaica top in the group, and then a toss up between Curacao and Trinidad for the second spot and possibly playoff spot, with Curacao nicking Trinidad finishing in third. But I'm a Trinidad fan and I can't see that. I know it will be very, very difficult for us to finish top of this group, with Jamaica being in this group. Beating Jamaica, anyhow, we'll get into that. That was the early game, Jamaica versus Bermuda, and then we had the main game here, Trinidad versus Curacao. Now, a lot of people think Curacao, small nation, if they do qualify, they will beat back Iceland as the smallest nation. We had the record for the smallest nation to qualify. Then Iceland took it with, they have a population of, I think it's like somewhere 400,000. And then if Curacao does qualify, I have to check for the other nations, like a New Caledonia, or one of them probably will be smaller. Curacao has the chance of becoming the smallest population size country to qualify. People might think, oh, Curacao, it's a little resort island, whatever, but it's a former Dutch territory. I don't even think they're fully independent, and they have a lot of Dutch lower division uh, players, along with guys playing in Turkey, Greece, Switzerland, Belgium. So it shows by their ranking 86. They're not no walkover or anything like that. As compared to our team, yes, we have our foreign-based players as well, but they only have two home-based players in their squad. So that's just to tell you about the quality of that squad. Just going through this game, so seeing it live, I have to say off the bat that our crowd support, we need some work. We need to do, like, go to some training, right? Whether it be Argentina, who else has go to Liverpool? Yeah, my club. Um, to really learn how to support your team, because in the first half, especially, we were like way too passive and quiet. So basically, Curacao had it pretty much comfortable until second half, and late second half, you had to say. In this match, surprisingly, watching it live, we had 14 shots on goal compared to Curacao only having seven. We played with our 4-4-2 system. Our XG said we should have scored in terms of it was 0.96. Uh, Levi Garcia actually had four shots. Sealy and Spicer had three shots each. Surprising stats here as well. No Trini with a successful dribble. I had couple dribbles with the Curacao players. Tackles, I think it was like three each. Daniel Phillips, that man was a monster in midfield. Rio Cardenas and Andre Rampasad. They would be basically my picks if I have to choose like player of the match for Trinidad and Tobago. And it would be a hard choice because I thought these three players had uh, pretty good games. Rio controlling the right back position. I don't know with him there. To make this point one time, if one of my favorite players, Alvin Jones, I think he is either injury or suspension, was out. If he could get back a place on this team, but one thing to consider, hopefully York will consider this, in terms of possibly Alvin Jones playing right back, Rio being pushed up a little higher. 'Cause right now Rio basically in the right back, right wing, right midfield kind of controlling that side. But I probably we could find a way for both of those players to be included. Daniel Phelps, monster in midfield, very physical. Going to Jamaica, they always play a real hard physical game. Well, make it rough. And also their crowd support is very intimidating at the office. So we'll need players like him to especially be on their game. Andre Rampasada as well, much needed and had a pretty good game. Just to touch on Curacao as well, to Dick Advocat, their coach. Now, anybody who knows football knows about this guy. Former PSV, former Rangers, former St. Petersburg, Feyenoord. Uh, in terms of countries, Iraq, Holland, multiple stints, Russia, South Korea, very, very, very experienced coach. And he had this Curacao side very well organized. We couldn't really break down that final third. In my opinion, the guys were getting into certain good positions, and I don't know if it was Dwight had said this after the post match interview. We start off slowly. We start off too slowly. I don't know if we show them too much respect or a combination of the guys kind of nervous seeing. Well, I mean, you have the whole stadium full. That was good. Trying to Tobago, by the way. Nervous, cautious. So especially first half, at times they were packed in our half. So that's something they need to work on, especially with Jamaica coming up right Tuesday, in terms of starting the game better. Having said that though, positive clean sheet. We needed that, especially how we've been playing recently and the Gold Cup beaten 5-0 by USA and stuff like that. We usually play well at home. So that was a good thing to see, along with the positives in the second half. Now, for the crowd, I Rio really tried. Kudos to him to try to hype up the crowd. Uh, that's something we need to work on going forward. What I will say is, in my opinion, and I'm not at Dwight York's level coaching, the subs in the 83rd and the 90th minute, I think it was a bit too late. Now I know he mentioned that he didn't want to upset the chemistry and stuff like that, but mentioned this point one time, Levi Garcia and Molino were off the pace a little bit. I don't know if they were out of form or if what was going on, but normally Levi Garcia with four shots, one or two of them would have normally been goals. So I think, especially with Molino, he could have taken him off a little earlier, being I think he's 35 now, so keep him fresh for the other games because he has to try and string together the midfield for us. Yeah, so 83rd minute, three subs, and then in 90th minute the next sub. So we only used four subs. Uh, we needed to go for these 3 points. So bringing on attackers like Ore, Nathaniel Jones, those kind of players, um, and at this point, to just mentioning Aubrey David, Alvin Jones, Jovelyn Jones, Sheldon Batte, they missing at the moment. So I don't know what's the reasons for their non-selection, but hopefully they could, with their experience and stuff, find a way back in. Mentioning on this as well. So I heard our sports minister, Philip Watts, talk about on post cabinet Thursday with regards to the grandparents' law. Now, we're one of a few countries that doesn't have the option where if you have grandparents or Trinidad and Tobago heritage to come to play for your country. I know most countries use it. It's something that this new government is looking at, and I hope they could really get it in place as soon as possible. Uh, it was mentioned in the post match that and in the post cabinet that it may take a couple of months to get it passed in Parliament. And I was hearing that there are potentially 40 odd, whether it be US or European players, similar to like what Curacao was doing, lower league players, that could come in and make a big difference. Now, there's for me, there's a pros and cons to this. I think yes, while it's good that we have that option, more should be done to bring through local base players. Yes, you want them to be to get their contracts and be playing outside, but I'm kind of bittersweet about this in terms of guys who have been doing the work for however long for our country, and then someone else because they can't make their adopted country national team, they will come to try to play for Trinidad and Tobago. So yeah, it's a kind of difficult situation. But obviously, if it helps us to qualify for the World Cup, nobody gonna care. We'll be like we'll be happy to be in the World Cup. Uh, Also mentioning hello, this it was pretty horrible in terms of the this like crowd crazy. Well, what happened at the stadium? It There was long traffic. I mean, and some people would have gotten away or avoided that by reaching up super early and stuff like that. But I think better needs to be done in terms of traffic management, and then in terms of the crowd. Now, I heard several times the announcers telling people, "Hey, find a seat. Do not stand in the aisle. Do not." But seats were filled, and people were standing. There was no seats, no more seats for people. And then I even heard some people talk about they were locked out, so they stopped taking in people at a certain point. I don't know what went on there, but that needs to be looked at as well. I know we have a break in terms of home games because we're going to Jamaica on Tuesday. Critical. We need to get, I would say, 3 points. And getting a draw even may not be enough because we basically needed to win this home game. And is it 1 point gained or 2 points dropped? you could look at it both sides. I'm thinking we needed to win this game. Although Curacao came in highly, highly rated to people in the know, we needed to get these 3 points. So it would be very difficult to go Jamaica. And I mean, if we could even get a draw there, will be a positive result, but then that'll be 2 out of 6. And if somehow I know Dwight said he doesn't fear Jamaica going to Jamaica in Jamaica. If somehow we could nick a win there, whether it be a 1-0 or 2-1, and end up on 4 points at this stage, will be a really, really positive situation. Because after Jamaica, we have to go to Bermuda, which we supposed to win. I hope that's a big win. And then we go to Curacao before we come back home to finish qualifying. So just to mention to the referee in the first half had some questionable decisions. Or I don't know if she was a bit nervous. There was an all female lineup, all from Mexico. Couple things she wasn't in control of. That was minor, by the way. But we should have taken our reviewing. We should have taken our chances. Uh, Positives, as I said, our defense much better. Those guys in attack, that final touch, choosing to probably pass when they could have had a shot. We need to work on those little things. We and bringing on the subs, impact players, impact that late in the game. I mean, there was substantial added on time and stuff like that, but we needed a little change up, in my opinion, a little earlier. So going forward, we're hoping to get a positive result against Jamaica. We're hoping to somehow upset most of the expert analysts in CONCACAF who are saying that this should be Jamaica first, Curacao second. If we don't qualify top of this group, this being the easiest, in inverted commas, again, uh, opportunity we'll have to qualify for a World Cup. Being the first time there's 48 teams going to this World Cup. Normally it would have been the 32 teams before. And we're in a group, basically all Caribbean group, no Central American country. If we had gotten a group with like a Panama or Costa Rica, Croatia. So we have the best opportunity to ever probably qualify for a World Cup. I don't know if we'll ever get an opportunity like this again. And I really, really do hope that we get it together and get this first place, because finishing second and going through that round of intercontinental playoff, they didn't announce who you'll be playing yet. So that could be a possibly like a Venezuela or Bolivia if it's the qualifier from South America. Could even be like an African team, which is going to be really, really difficult. If we do get through with something like a Oceania, um, New Caledonia or something, well, really, really, really good if we get that opportunity, because New Zealand already qualified as Oceania's lone automatic qualifier. Or even if it's like an Asian team, I know they have been on the improve recently, and they're not going to be any sort of walkover. It'll be much harder than Bahrain at the moment. So lots to look forward to in this CONCACAF qualifying section. Um, be sure to like and subscribe at JSP Talk Sports, and should be back on for the rest of the world World Cup qualifying update. So hope to see you guys soon. Take care. Have a good one.